Nancy Sula here, and I'm excited to provide an overview of our self-paced online professional learning experiences, or PLEs as we like to refer to them. Now, these are not courses. These are meant to provide everyone in the organization with a common experience and a common language as we all think about shifts we need to make moving forward in the world of teaching and learning. The first one we created was Reinventing the Classroom Experience based on my book of the same name. Well, our first PLE was a hit, and then we began to create more in-depth PLEs for particular topics, such as the equity lens, PBL, executive function and SEL, and individualized learning using differentiated activity lists. Let's take a look at Reinventing the Classroom Experience, and you'll get an idea for what this is all about. Picture, if you will, that every teacher and administrator in your organization has a login. And as I provide this brief demo, think about how you envision this being used in a faculty meeting, PD day, PLCs, with teachers in a post-observation conference, for continuing education credits, and more. The first module is simply the setup, but there are a couple of things I'd like to point out. First of all, this idea of an efficacy notebook. We're all familiar with notebooks where we take notes on content, but an efficacy notebook causes you to stop and reflect on what you just learned. After each activity, stop and summarize what you've learned. And think about how this learning connects to something that you already are doing, how it might connect to something else you've learned here, and how you could use it in a classroom or school. And throughout the PLE, we offer tech tips in case you are working on infusing technology more so into the teaching learning environment. So after setting up the efficacy notebook, notice that we have a task and a rubric to guide the PLE. So for instance, if I head over here to the rubric page, you'll see there's always a little paper clip in the upper right-hand corner if there's something to download. You will see a rubric that offers very specific expectations, we put those in the practitioner column, for what educators will develop in using this PLE. Throughout the module, you will see some choices such as, would you prefer to watch a video or read a text? We offer some check-ins to ensure that you are getting the most out of the PLE. In every module, we include a mindful moment because we all have to take some time to take care of ourselves. The Reflect and Connect activities take you back to the efficacy notebook. And when you complete the end-of-module assessment, you receive a certificate indicating that you completed PD time. But again, this is the first module that is simply the setup and an introduction to all of these different tools that are used throughout. Now let's dive into the content. Now notice in the case of this module, teachers are creating something called a Great Student Rubric, and they're also creating norms and protocols because these position students to succeed in the classroom, knowing exactly what is expected of them in terms of work habits and behavior. Teachers could explore this together in a faculty meeting or PLC or PD day, or they could explore and design on their own, and then they could come together in a faculty meeting or PLC to share with one another what they created and offer one another feedback. You'll notice that design time is built in throughout so that teachers will develop materials to use in their own classrooms. Are you a fan of PBL? And we define PBL as any one of these 5 Ps. We have a module that focuses on how the brain actually retains learning. In Module 5, we talk about 5 types of instructional activities, ensuring that you are including all of these as very specific, deliberate activities in the student's learning life. We engage with schools a lot on the coupling between opportunity and access. So here, we talk about the importance of 5 different types of videos. And if this is something that's of interest to you, well, this might be a module where you want to begin. I'm sure you're seeing that other than Module 1, the modules work independently of one another. You can pick and choose the topics that are going to work for you. And on a PD day, you could have workshop facilitators work through a particular module in advance and then help others work through them during a particular session. We also provide activities on facilitating learning, including using a content facilitation grid and 5 levels of facilitation questions. You'll notice whenever you see that paperclip that we have attached a resource. In this case, it's a how-to sheet for designing and using a content facilitation grid. And let me point out here that in each module, you're also going to see an insight video. A nuance is to balance your energy in the classroom. How do you do that? Well, that's an insight video. Are you interested in engaging educators in your organization with more professional learning around formative and summative assessment? Or building greater student responsibility for learning? Creating a culture of social and emotional learning and executive function? Prioritizing equity? Partnering with parents and caregivers? And how can you prime students for success right at the start of the school year? Well, these are the modules all available in the PLE Reinventing the Classroom Experience. Essentially, you purchase access for all teachers and administrators in a school or a district, and we provide you with coupon codes that can be redeemed at any time, no expiration date. Once an educator uses a coupon to enroll, they then have 2 years of access. Some organizations first engage their educators in this overarching Reinventing the Classroom experience, and then, as you could see from those different modules, a follow-up experience in a particular subtopic. Other organizations are saying, for example, right now, executive function and SEL, that's our priority. We're going to purchase access for that PLE and focus on that first. It doesn't matter. Any order that you want. It's time for new ways for us to think about ongoing, sustained professional learning. Thanks for joining me. For more information, here you go.